Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a look back at the 2023 Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. Maybe not the strongest and deepest dirt mile field of all time, but favored Cody's Wish gave the people what they wanted to see, and that was back-to-back wins in the dirt mile. They break from the gate at Santa Anita. Cody's Wish is number 3, breaking from post position 2 in the Godolphin Blue. And while he got away better than usual, he still takes up residence near the back of the pack as National Treasure finally makes the lead for the first time since going gate to wire in the Preakness.
Yeah, they made no bones about wanting the lead with National Treasure this time, Dan, on a send from the outside post. He had to go fast to get there, but he got there. He's going to, be able to back things down a little bit here up the backstretch, Dan. He's in a really good spot. Love the ride, though, that Junior Alvarado gives Cody's Wish here, Dan. He's last early, but he doesn't let this horse get outrun, and then he just does everything right through the last half of this race.
Yeah, you're going to watch Alvarado again. He just maneuvers Cody's Wish beautifully through this field. National Treasure is taking some pressure from the Charlestown Classic winner, Skippy Longstocking. But as Mike mentioned, once National Treasure gets to the lead, he sort of comes to hand nicely. Now you see Cody's Wish beginning to maneuver his way in between horses, Mike. Alvarado drops in. He's going to get out. Every move was the right one.
Every move was the right one, especially when you see what the margin of victory is going to wind up being here, Dan. He probably needed to save as much ground as he does around this. He doesn't go around horses. He gets to the inside. He moves up. He gets right behind the winner at the top of the stretch, and then he moves him back out. And now, listen, National Treasure is still kicking on at this point, and Cody's Wish has to dig down deep to get him, and dig down deep he does.
If there's one thing we've learned about National Treasure from his Preakness performance is that he's very game and he will fight when confronted. Cody's Wish confronted him. He fought all the way down to the wire. There was an inquiry, a little bit of bumping in the stretch, but Cody's Wish always seemed to have National Treasure perhaps measured that final 100 yards or so, and he got it done. He'll now go to stud. Just a brilliant career for a horse that will go down as one of the more popular in recent times.
Just turned out to be a really, really good horse, Dan. Now, didn't really want to go a true distance of ground, but man, when you kept him between 7 and 8 furlongs, didn't matter if it was one turn or two, this horse showed up without fail and just kept running fast races in big spots.
And as for National Treasure, he fired his best shot. He fired his Preakness here. Might even have run slightly better than in the Preakness, considering the level of competition he was in against. It wasn't the strongest Preakness that he won. I think we learned that he wants to be on the lead, Mike, and maybe at these middle distances, he's kind of an interesting horse if he shows up next year. Maybe a Met Mile candidate.
Yeah, I agree. This was clearly, in my opinion, the best race this horse has ever run. He got a super aggressive ride from Pratt in this race, and it seems like that's when this horse is at his best. They put him right on the front in here, and he really made a top horse work to get by him in the stretch.
This is probably the best that Skippy Longstocking can do, and I'm sure the connections were very, very pleased to run third in this race. He was up close to National Treasure. He couldn't go with that horse on the turn. He stayed on for third. He's a useful horse.
Interesting tactics, I thought, from the gate here, because they were also on a send. Like they wanted to try to get to the lead with this horse, and unfortunately for him, National Treasure was faster, and all he could do was chase. Listen, he never had enough. You could tell around the second turn he wasn't winning, but to get a clear third in this race with this horse, that has to be a really good result for these connections.
Charge It and Zozos are kind of the same horse, aren't they? Except that one is gray, the former Charge It. They're very, very inconsistent. They've shown hints of brilliance in their careers, but at the end of the day, you could make the argument that both are slightly underachievers.
Yeah, you could make that argument. I mean, I don't think it was that shocking to see Charge It sort of finish a no threat fourth in this race. He never really did any running at all. Zozos, he was one of the horses, Dan, who I thought maybe you could make a case that he would go forward in here and be part of this pace. They didn't really seem like that was the plan at all. They didn't try to make the lead with this horse. They sat overall what I thought was in a pretty good position on the inside up the backstretch, and he just never really made a move. He backed up into the final turn. He wound up last, and just was a non-factor in this race. He was very disappointing.
Let's take a closer look at the brilliant Cody's Wish, who retires to stud. 11 wins from 16 lifetime starts, 2 Breeders' Cup Dirt Miles. Not off the board this year, not off the board in his career. 107 Beyer speed figure, handled masterfully by trainer Bill Mott. They did try to stretch him out once in the Whitney. He was no match for White Abarrio. Did that cost him Horse of the Year? Your opinion?
I don't think it cost them horse of the year at all. No, they needed to take that shot with him. They did. It didn't work out. Everything else that this horse did, throughout the year this year, I think makes him a major contender for that award.
I agree with you. Cody's Wish handled White Barrio one race prior in the Metropolitan Handicap. Prices for the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, no surprise. Cody's Wish odds on 360. National Treasure ran back to his Preakness. He was second. The Honest Skippy Long Stocking was third. Brilliant career for Cody's Wish. Heartwarming story. Mott and Alvarado take the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.